This is Reasonable Doubt with your hosts, Mark Garrigus and Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on. A choice between a mandate. Get it on. Welcome to the best hour or so in the universe. It's Reasonable Doubt. I'm Adam Carolla. Mark Garrigus is in New York City.
I'm in New York City. I'm going to quarantine in place here where apparently in New York City, unlike LA, at least so far, you can still eat indoors and outdoors. Isn't that shocking?
It is shocking. It's, my thing with California, I always bring up the example of anytime you build something or do something, like if you buy, and I brought it up before, but it's worth thinking about. Like when you're dealing with some company that makes glass railings for a mezzanine, and they'll go, do you want the tempered glass or do you want the laminated glass? And you go, well, which one's cheaper? And they go, oh, the laminated is cheaper. And you go, okay, give me the laminated. And they go, where are we shipping it? And you go, California. And they go, oh, no. We can't ship it. We can't ship the laminated stuff to California. You go, where else can you not ship it? And they go, nowhere, just California. And you go, good. Give me a fireplace that's a ventless fireplace. It just burns gas logs. Yeah, not in Cal. We can't do Cal. It can't. There's car stuff. They have to make parts special for car exhausts and stuff like that. I don't know why California needs to be the tip of the retard spear for everything. Do we have to be the most cowardly, craven state in the union? Can't we just land somewhere in the middle? Why does everything in California need to be 10 times safer than everywhere else? And all the shit, it's like, oh, yeah, that's legal here, that's legal there. You can not in California. Can't do it in California.
Well, and now we've taken it a step farther. The county of LA is in a competition with the city of LA to see who can be the most crazed. I mean, it's astonishing what's happened this week. I've been doing, I filed the lawsuit Tuesday of last week. We're recording this on Friday. And we finally got heard on the ban for outdoor dining. And the California Restaurant Association had filed last week, was denied, then renewed it, and we put them together and had a pretty lengthy hearing this week in which the judge issued what's called an order to show cause, an OSC, as to the county, as to why the county has banned outdoor dining, when as far as I can tell, the judge could tell, the California Restaurant Association could tell, there's absolutely no study, no data, nothing that supports it. And mind you, the judge, His Honor, picked the standard of the most deferential to the state, which is it arbitrary and capricious, and issued an order basically saying you've got until, when are we taping this right now? In the morning on Friday. They've got until this afternoon to file documents showing or any kind of data justifying why the county of LA has banned outdoor dining and why that isn't arbitrary and capricious. Mind you, we can take a long walk from where we live in La Cañada, which is the county of LA, to the city of Pasadena, which is the county of LA, and you can outdoor dine there.
Well, I don't want to correct you because I did eat last night at the Parkway Grill with Dr. Drew. They have a huge tent in the parking lot. Of course, it's packed. It's packed. And by the way, you're just going to bring more people to the few places you can still eat outside. But it was packed. It was packed out there. And Dr. Drew and I had it. But I do want to correct you. According to Garcetti, you cannot walk from La Cañada to Pasadena because he has banned walking. Part of his thing is no walking, no mountain biking, no scooters. Gary, he did have walking on there, right?
Yeah, he sure did. And on top of your point, I live down in Orange County. I have seen numerous friends and family on social media who are just leaving LA for special occasions and coming down and dining on the edge of Orange County because they want to.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Because they want to and by the way, Garcetti is the mayor of the city of LA, but is treated like he's the mayor of the county, which is, by the way, Catherine Barger would be the mayor of the county, who I mentioned last week did a masterful job on cross-examining the county health officer, who's basically a social worker, Barbara Ferrer, who kept referring to the CDC study, which, when you look at the CDC study, does not make a distinction between indoor and outdoor. I mean, this idea that somehow there's any data or there's any study that shows that outdoor transmission is a problem. I just wish they would. This is why people are resisting so hard. It is, if you ask people, mask up when you're indoors, or don't congregate with other households or something. I mean, if you had some kind of reasonable guidelines, I think you might get some compliance. But at this point, you're asking for massive civil disobedience.
And you're seeing some of it, I think, in New Jersey. Was it New Jersey where they had a big gathering in front of a pub? You're going to see more and more of it.
I think that was Staten Island.
Oh, it could have been Staten Island.
The autonomous zone.
I think it was Staten Island.
Yes.
But there's a chef that I follow on Twitter. I forget his name. He's just openly defiant. And, you have to say to yourself, all of these restaurants that they're putting out of business that invested in the outdoor, we spent tens of thousands of dollars for creating outdoor space so that we could continue to keep people employed. There's 31,000 restaurants in the county of LA, and they're just going to put them out of business. Just, here you go, we turn it on, turn it off. I'm all for it if they stop taking a paycheck during those time periods. If they want to, I think that they should say, okay, we're behind you. We're not going to take a paycheck during the time periods when we're closing down other businesses. Why not?
Yeah, I don't want to correct you, but Barbara Ferrer is not a social worker. She's a socialist. That's, I think, a more fitting title for her. These people, I always say stupid or liar. And now it's nefarious, stupid or liar. I don't know if there's some scheme, some plot. I did hear an interesting one, and then I want to break down your case. But I'm curious what you think about this. I heard someone talking about this on the radio the other day. You think to yourself, what's going on? Why? Why are we driving our economy into the ground? Why are we putting so many people out of work? Why? And especially in a void of data and science. And somebody floated the idea that California is so screwed financially because of their unfunded pension stuff and a whole California is screwed financially because we don't handle our business correctly. We have all these pension funds that we have to make good on. That the notion or the theory was we'll just drive it into the ground and then we'll tell the federal government, hey, we need a shitload of money. But the shitload of money won't be to help out the restaurants. It'll be to help out the state for obligations they had before the pandemic.
That's an interesting theory, because I have no idea how, for instance, the city of LA or the county, and the county is probably, there's a great deal that is property tax based, but how does the city of LA think that they're going to fund their first responders? How do they think they're going to fund the network of governmental things that need to be funded if they're just driving one of the largest kind of segments or sectors, hospitality, into the ground? I don't see the end game. I don't understand it.
Well, the federal government.
And by the way, one of the things are that Judge Chalfant discussed in the hearing is public health is different. Public health means there's a balancing. Public health means you take the kind of what you've said before, Adam. You take an analysis of the cost benefit of the public because that's what you're there to do, and you balance it against the economic benefits or burdens. That's something you have to do. And if the county is acting arbitrary and capricious while causing irreparable harm, that balancing is going to tilt towards restraining the county from doing what they're doing. And I think Gary's even got a little segment. I forget, what was it, KTLA?
Yeah, he's got a clip. But I still would like you to sort of, in layman's terms, just kind of walk us through the process. So the county and the city, they close down outdoor dining. You get together with the Restaurant Association and file a lawsuit that says we don't see any reason why this should happen, and you don't have proof enough to do it. That then needs to be vetted by a judge.
Correct, and they do it in California state court. You go to what's called writs and receivers, which is there's two judges that handle writs and receivers in LA Superior Court, and you file your paperwork by 10 o'clock the day before. Needless to say, our paperwork somehow electronically went to Norwalk, languished there, and then finally came back downtown. But we finally got a hearing, and during the hearing, the judge reads everything that you file, and the Restaurant Association filed numerous declarations talking about all the businesses and how much they'd spent and what this means to, the irreparable harm portion. We filed declarations, and they did as well, from various experts, epidemiologists, doctors, medical, who talked about the fact that there is no science or data to justify, zero, to justify the ban on outdoor dining. So then the judge says, this is the only place where he and I disagreed. I said, based on last week's U.S. Supreme Court case, I think that the standard, you don't have to be completely deferential to the county, that you can engage in what's called either strict scrutiny or an intermediate scrutiny. But the judge is saying where we veer, he's saying, no, if it's not arbitrary or capricious, you give them the most deference, meaning the county.
What are you asking for in your lawsuit?
That he restrain them, a temporary restraining order, restrain them from enforcing the ban on outdoor dining.
Who's them?
The county.
All right.
So it would be basically the county through their health officer and restrain them. So he has given them, he said, you've got until Friday today to file by 4:30 the whatever additional information you want me to consider, but I'm ordering you to show cause why I shouldn't grant this restraining order by Monday or Tuesday when we have the hearing.
All right. So if I'm them, I'm probably going to have difficulty getting scientific paperwork to document outdoor dining as dangerous, since there aren't any studies on it and they don't have the information. So they're probably not going to produce an actual report that says, the CDC or this is out of Hounslow, England, and it's a report from April 2020. They're not going to produce a report, but they are just going to say these are extraordinary circumstances, and we ask that you comply, because we're not going to be able to figure out whether it's a park, whether it's outdoor. We're just saying in a blanket statement, we're basically saying this is an emergency, and we're going to ask you to comply.
Right. I think you're exactly right. There is no study. There is no data. In fact, Sheila Kuehl, your favorite county supervisor, who, by the way, you know what her latest story is? Her latest story, after she voted to close outdoor dining and then went to Santa Monica to outdoor dine, after somebody dined her out, she says, well, I wanted to go there personally to give them the news that she was going to deliver. Can you believe?
Right.
Now,
and eat 5 cannolis. I'd like to give you some news. I'm not done chewing. When I'm done chewing, I'll give you some news. Keep the pasta coming.
I'm going to go personally deliver the news that I just shut your business down. And that's like Gavin Newsom saying, I'm not sure about the health inspector at the French Laundry, so I'm going to go there in person as the state's czar, the COVID czar, and check out and make sure you're complying with indoor, outdoor. I mean, it's nonsense. I think what they're going to do is they're going to scream bloody murder that the hospitals are. And they've already telegraphed this. The hospitals are jam packed, and the frontline workers are exhausted. And by the way, we don't have enough ICU beds. And when you ask the simple question, okay, what does that have to do with outdoor dining? Well, it's when people get a viral load. Yeah, but what does that have to do with outdoor dining? Don't ask that question. We have something else we got to do.
Yeah, so they're going to go right past the science and the data because they can't produce that, and they're going to go into, this is an emergency. So basically, what their angle would be, there's an earthquake, and you should get down and do push-ups. And you go, What's that have to do with an earthquake? And you go, it can't hurt, and we're in an emergency situation, so give me 10. That's basically going to be their angle.
Well, at least your example, I could link it. I could say, well, look, this virus tends to hit people. We've called it the Vinny virus. People who've got certain problems. Maybe we should have been encouraging people to get fit 8 or 9 months ago, because then you wouldn't have the pre-existing conditions, lose weight, do the various kinds of things. But everything is a non sequitur when it comes to this. You cannot have the discussion. There isn't a rational discussion. That's why it was so refreshing to listen to a bench officer who's extremely smart. And I've known him, since the days when he was a U.S. attorney. I mean, this is a guy who read everything. He knew the material. He understood it. Like I said, the only disagreement I've got is on the legal standard of review. And this is somebody who allowed or gave the county now 3 days to show cause, or as he says, fill the holes in what you're telling me, because it makes no sense.
All right. So is it going to be the same judge? You said bench officer. Is that the same as a judge?
Yes.
Okay, yes. So the same judge.
I like this kind of analysis you do. You can't let me skirt right by with bench officer.
The same judge or bench officer who said, I need to see proof, is going to preside over this thing, right?
Yeah. In fact, he cleared his calendar for next Tuesday, and we have the hearing next Tuesday. In which they've got to file, as I indicated, today, and then we have to file by Monday morning our reply.
What are the chances that L.A. County doesn't return file? What if they just throw in the towel?
Well, I thought the vote was 3-2. Janice Hahn, Catherine Barger were both, I thought, spot on. Mark Ridley Thomas votes to ban it, and then promptly leaves the Board of Supervisors because he's termed out. I mean, this was like his last act. It was basically a fuck you to the county. And then you're left with Hilda Solis and Sheila. So I don't know why Barger and Hahn have not called for another vote. And if it's 2-2, then I don't think that's the force. I'm not an expert on the county charter, but I would imagine that's one way to get around this nonsense. I also, and I've said this before, I'll probably have them push back on it. The county has a county counsel's office. It's their own law firm, okay? But they're paying, talk about, an unlimited budget. They're paying an outside firm to come to court in addition to the county council. Explain that to me. I mean, wait, you're not used to going to court to defend the county's decisions, so we got to hire somebody outside counsel to get fee waivers and everything else. I mean, if you're a restaurateur or you work for a restaurant in the county of LA, this whole thing has got to be the most galling experience. And mind you, you should read some of these declarations that the Restaurant Association put together. They're heartbreaking. I mean, the people who spent tens of thousands of dollars, who've had to lay people off. I forget the one, somebody just laid off another 60 people this week after laying off 100 before. Nobody cares.
And by the way, those people go home and our mayor's outlawed walking and riding a mountain bike. So they're just going to sit home and drink or slam fentanyl and, watch Judge Judy and slowly erode into addiction and
having
depression.
A pre-existing condition and addiction.
Yeah. And Mark, to circle back to Mark's point about the Vinny diet and getting healthy, might I suggest Mark's own Don Julio and quesadilla regimen? This is you do a half bottle of Don Julio before the street lights come on. He prefers a chicken quesadilla and just the outside of the pretzel bread. Do not get into the main body of the pretzel bread. You scrape the outside of it.
I went for Vinny. We went protein style at first. Although I saw you with the fries, Papa's free sauce.
Well, they should have brought the fries. Yes, for protein style. All right, I'm gonna do a spot, but then I want you to kind of. And we got clips to play, but I want you to walk us through the timeline. So it's gonna come back up for review on Tuesday. I want to know how you think that review is going to go, and if it's favorable, what does that practically mean? What is the timeline after that? First, I'll tell you about NetSuite. If you're a business owner, you don't need us telling you how tough it is to run a business these days. Don't make it harder than necessary. Don't let QuickBooks and spreadsheets slow you down. Stop paying for multiple systems that don't give you the info you need when you need it. Upgrade to NetSuite by Oracle, the world's #1 cloud business system. Get visibility and control over financials, HR, inventory, e-commerce, and more, and you can do it all in one place instantaneously. Whether you're doing $1 million in business or hundreds of millions in revenue, save time. Save money. Go with NetSuite, right, Gary?
That's right. Join the over 21,000 companies using NetSuite right now. Let NetSuite show you how they'll benefit your business with a free product tour at netsuite.com/doubt. Schedule your free product tour right now at netsuite.com/DOUBT. netsuite.com/doubt.
So let's say this thing goes the way you'd like it to go on Tuesday with this judge. Are they going to appeal? Are they going to draw this thing out? How soon could we get to something?
Well, I'm hoping that that the Board of Supervisors, I still hold out hope that they come to their senses and realize that they're going to have a revolt under their hands. And the problem they've got is that this is not supported by science, and it looks cavalier. And I know what will happen. They're going to, as we indicated, I know what they'll file today. We'll file a response, work on it over the weekend. Then Tuesday we'll have a hearing. I'm fairly confident that they're not going to come up with anything new, and they're just going to be what I call the Chicken Little, the sky is falling. And then we're going to have a hearing on Tuesday. I would hope that His Honor would issue the TRO. And then, yes, I anticipate they would go and appeal it and try to get a stay of the order.
But why would that work if the same judge has already just said you didn't provide sufficient proof for?
They go up to the Court of Appeal.
I see.
Part of the problem that you've got as a practical matter, and I've said this before, the governor here in California was smarter than the governor in Michigan. The governor, because Michigan, the Supreme Court acted differently. Here, the governor, what Newsom did, which was somewhat diabolical in my opinion, is he delegated to the Chief Justice of the California Supreme Court emergency powers having to do with the judges. Well, who's going to rule against, what the Chief Justice is doing? By the way, the insanity of the court system right now is that they're telling you can't walk, you can't do this. Well, the courts are open. You're going to court. You've got people from every different household. Go down to the Stanley Moss Courthouse where this hearing is. You've got nothing but people from different households in probably the most decrepit county building that exists. And I would venture to say that ventilation system would probably be in violation of anything. Yet they're putting all of those people on a daily basis together. But at the same time, across the street in the criminal courthouse, they basically suspended the writ of habeas corpus. Not since the Civil War have we done that. And what do I mean by that? They issue the emergency orders saying that there is no speedy trial rights. So you can languish in custody while there's no right to a speedy trial. I've got a client right now who was picked up on an extradition warrant out of Pennsylvania. That client is under quarantine at the Twin Towers downtown. They can't even get him to court to be heard, to be released, to post bail so he can go to Pennsylvania. You just languish. So what is happening here is, I can tell you 1,000 different stories, but so far, and I anticipate one of the things that will come out of this is you're going to have the law of unintended consequences. There's going to be some payback, I think, at a certain point here. Economically, I think from a standpoint of these politicians not doing what's right, I'm amazed by the whole thing.
Gary, is it true that Garcetti, as part of his decree, said no walks, no mountain bikes, no scooters? I'm thinking about getting a Vespa just to defy that order. So, Mark, practically, if you had to predict how this was going to play out in the timeline, what would you predict?
I think they're not going to, there you go. Bands walking.
Mm-hmm. Bands walking.
I mean, it's astonishing. Why can't you just use some common sense? You mask up if you're outdoors. You stay more than 6 feet away. I embrace that. I don't want anybody getting within 6 feet of me anyway. Do you?
No.
No. So fine, I'll stay away. If I want to eat, I'll eat outside and I won't be within 6 feet. I'll double it. I'll be 12 feet away from anybody else. Then they say, well, what about when you take your mask off and the server comes over? The server should have a mask. And
right. They
should be wearing the mask. Right, they do. That's what they do. So just this whole thing is, and His Honor cited this as well. 41% of these deaths are, guess where? They're in assisted living style places.
Yeah.
The second largest is in prisons and jails.
Right.
And then, this is like putting everybody under home arrest.
That's what I was going to say. I don't want to support Garcetti, but if he turns this entire place into a penal colony, then technically we're all in jail. Yeah, we got a clip to play. We got a clip from you and a clip from me. Want to play your clip first?
Gary's there. You have it, Gary? There he is.
Yeah, what is the clip? You want to set up the clip? Does it need to set
this is Alexandra, who is a lawyer at my firm who was actually in the courthouse. And I think it's KTLA, and I believe it's Elena Abovian, who is the reporter. Also, you can tell by the name, Armenian. An interesting clip that kind of sets it up. And I think Alexandra quits herself quite well in this.
All right.
Hi there, Lou and Glenn. Well, today was a small but prominent victory for the California Restaurant Association. During the hearing today, the judge favored both parties in this case, both plaintiffs, essentially saying if LA County wants to issue a ban on outdoor dining, well, then it must show just cause. To be able to help our community survive through this economically, to be able to support their families, that's what we're here for. Alexandra Kazarian is an attorney with Garagos and Garagos, representing the restaurant engine company number 28 in downtown LA, co-owned by famed LA attorney Mark Garagos. Today, alongside the California Restaurant Association, they presented their case against the LA County ban on outdoor dining, arguing the ban is unconstitutional. The Constitution itself was created in a time of crisis, so it doesn't go away in a time of crisis. It's here to protect the people from the government when the government is trying to overreach. The judge ruled today in favor of both parties, ordering LA County to present just cause. The county will have until Friday. According to the state order, outdoor dining is permitted in California, even in counties in the most restrictive purple tier, pending tighter stay-at-home orders. Why is LA County different than Governor Newsom's order? Why should LA County be exempt from that order that actually allows restaurants to stay open even when they're in the highest tier?
Because LA County is the tip of the tampon. Whatever other pussy counties there are, we got to puss it up 10 times harder than everybody. Garcetti, it's like having a fucking pregnant llama as a mayor. It's just like this blah. When these prisoners are released, we owe them our gratitude. He's such a fucking pussy. Like, we need a dude in there who can run shit, not this wispy, willowy sack of shit.
Can you believe that he still has not been appointed to a position in the Biden administration? I thought for sure. I would have bet big money on that.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, sooner than later, so we can get him the fuck out of here. All right. I have by the way, Alexandra did a very nice job there. And
I thought she acquitted herself quite well.
Yes.
She came off like a badass. I would not want to be on the other side of her interrogation.
Yeah, but as we always discuss, so LA County has their own legal team, and then they're paying, and they're not paying, we're paying, the taxpayers are now paying for a second law firm to be involved. And if this was a situation where you're dealing with somebody who had a bottom line, a budget, and or a private entity, you'd have to now make some decisions. How much more do we want to? How much further do we want to go down this road? How much more do we want to pay the attorneys? How long do we want to string this out? So a real business, if in fact they ran their business like a business, would say, "Well, we're at a crossroads now. I'm not sure if we're going to win this one. How many more hourly? How many more billable hours do you want to pay?" But they don't give a shit. They'll just keep paying that law firm, and they'll just keep paying their own people, and they'll string this out as long as they possibly can, because what's the downside?
None, because it's an unlimited budget. I always tell that Edward Bennett Williams joke about hiring George Allen. I gave him an unlimited checking account, and he's already exceeded it. I mean, that's kind of the county way. If this was makes no sense. I really feel the people I really feel badly for are the smaller restaurants that are eking. It's tough to exist to begin with as a restaurateur. And there's so many places that I enjoy going into to eat because I do like to go out to eat most days of the week. And to see people working from morning till night just to eke out a living. And generally, it's a family-style operation. And to see them just turn off their businesses as if there's no repercussions to anybody is just heartbreaking.
Well, let's just do a hypothetical. If L.A. County wasn't L.A. County, but this was a private entity that you were dealing with that had to pay for their own legal counsel, would they throw it in? Would they throw in the towel right now?
Sure, they wouldn't. There's nobody after being issued an order to show cause basically saying, okay, you got to fill in the holes. Otherwise, I'm going to give the restaurant association and engine company what they want. There's nobody who's going to say, yeah, I'm going to double down on this and wrap myself up in the mantra of unlimited legal. I mean, it wouldn't happen. Somebody would have said, well, wait a second here. I've got a very thoughtful judge who read everything, and he said there is nothing that complies or justifies my most deferential standard, arbitrary and capricious. I'm giving you the benefit that you're completely, I can step over a one step basically, and you're going to continue to have people bill away and send you those bills, and you're going to willfully pay that? I mean, there's no way. Nobody would do that. No restaurant chain would do that.
Right. I got a clip from CNN that I thought would dovetail nicely into your 41% of the people dying are in nursing homes. CNN has turned into something other than a news agency or outlet. I don't know what exactly they are. I think it's just for middle-aged Karens to sit around and wring their hands and watch. There's no more. They're not doing news. They're doing these kind of weird, good vibes or heart-wrenching kind of puff pieces. And you tell me, first off, your journalism major in college, you think you're going to come out and be the next Woodward and Bernstein, and you end up doing these retarded puff pieces on CNN that make 0 points. So, Mark, put on your lawyer's jeweler's loop, and you tell me what point CNN is trying to make in this 1 minute snippet.
Eunice Angeloni was a Londoner. She met her husband, Grimaldo, during World War II. He was an American soldier, and eventually she came back to America with him to raise a family. She died on April 30th.
Pause it. All right. Eunice Meloni, 96 years of age, in a nursing home. 95 years of age. Sorry, if you could make it bigger. I can't read it from here. You can't. Okay. Eunice met her husband during the digging of the Panama Canal. And now she's dead. She's struck down in her prime. Only 95. Living in a nursing home. Cut off at the knees. Oh, who knows the potential for Eunice? Who knows what she could have gone on to invent? Who knows the children she could have sired? Yes. You know who 95-year-old Eunice left behind? 2 kids who are 78. Jesus fucking Christ, CNN. This is your angle? All right, but we'll keep going because the next one is Avis Lilly, who is 98. Sorry.
2 days later, Avis Lilly died. So did Constance
98.
Butler.
85.
She told her daughter, I don't want to live anymore. I've tried. I'm done. 48 hours later.
90. Pause it. Alice Ford is 90. You know what the average life expectancy is in this country? 78. So let me tell you something, CNN.
She said, I don't want to live anymore.
All right, fine. Give her the pillow. My point is this. Hey, CNN, you are trying to paint us this grim picture about these brave Americans who've been cut down by COVID. Here's the problem with the case you're making. The average American dies at 78 years of age. You have 95, 98, 85, and 90, all well above the average life expectancy minus COVID. So what fucking point are you making? And they're all in a nursing home.
Which, by the way, they've said, since March, we've known that. We've known that the nursing homes and assisted living centers are, and by the way, you know where you can still dine with other people? Guess where?
Nursing home.
Nursing home, absolutely. You can dine indoors together at nursing homes. It's what is happening? I don't understand what is happening.
I don't either. Other mass dining halls on an airplane. I mean, they put 100 people on there. They all eat. All right, we'll keep the tape going.
Louise Johnson passed away the next day, as did Harry Nash, who was a local bookshop owner who spent a lot of his time usually winning chess matches there. The next day, Beverly Dickman died.
79, 75, 86.
5 people died, including
92.
Russell Doughton.
What about
he
Russell?
He was a magician who was still performing balloon animal shows twice a week.
All right.
And Patricia
First off,
Lewandowski died
hey,
after 25.
Pause. Listen, bitch. You don't have to tell us what people enjoyed. You know what I mean? He liked playing with balloons. He was 92, but when do you think people die? 127, 128? What is your fucking point? You have listed 8 people here. 7 of them.
The average age, I'm going to say, what's the average age? Isn't the average age 90?
Yeah, 80. I think 88 is what we figured out. But the point is
okay.
Think about this from a lawyering standpoint. CNN is making a case about how this one old age home was ravaged by COVID, but 7 of the 8 people they brought up are older than the average life expectancy in the United States. And by the way, 1, 2, 3, 4 of the 8 are in their 90s. So,
which is incredible.
What is this?
You know, I just read an article from some guy, I forget where it was, who was saying that he was going to, basically, he only wanted to live to 75. He made a pretty compelling case for checking out at 75.
That was Ari, I think it's Ari Emanuel or the other Emanuel. I think it was not Ari.
Did you read it? I read the, it was a pretty amazing thing. He was no heroic efforts after 75 because quality of life falls off after that anyway. Not according to this report. I mean, he was still doing balloon animals in 92.
Yeah, I'm sure every 8-year-old.
And Harry Nash was a chess champion.
Well, he's played his liquor store. First things first. These people were all in a nursing home, which means the over-under on them is Christmas. You're in a fucking nursing home. You go there to die. When you're 98 years old, Avis Lilly, and you end up in a nursing home, you are there to die. But reminds me of my old man. He used to say if I ever put him into a nursing home, he'd come back to haunt me for the rest of his life. Who was it that said that?
It's actually the third Emanuel.
My father.
Oh, sorry.
It was the third Emanuel brother, the least known one, Ezekiel.
Ezekiel Emanuel.
Ezekiel, is he a doctor? Is he a doctor?
I think so. And he's an Emmanuel.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an oncologist.
All right, we'll play this story out. There's 20 more seconds here.
And Patricia Lewandowski died after 25 days on a ventilator. That was one horrific month at one nursing home. 32 had died. 32 of the 273,000 Americans who have died from this pandemic.
Well, thank you for this hard-hitting news story, CNN. You've completely changed my worldview on COVID-19. Are you telling me that super elderly people in nursing homes can be susceptible to this? No shit, Sherlock. That's the first fucking piece of news we got. This isn't news. It's more panic porn, and all it's going to do is agitate your fucking stooges who watch your retarded rants and act accordingly. And by the way, I would argue that a lot of these kind of stupid, retarded, non-news stories are what's driving a lot of the stupid politicians and health directors who are making policy. They're sitting around going, oh, boy, I got to do something. Look what's going on CNN. The guy likes shaping balloons, and now he's dead. Wow.
And by the way, we're not going to do anything about dining at the assisted living center.
I don't even know what was the point of that story.
The people, I don't know. I guess the whole idea that you're living till your 90s and you're in an assisted living space and you die. And at least one of them they said was on a ventilator. Yeah, there's no doubt that back in March we knew that assisted living centers were a breeding ground for this and would ravage them. I mean, does anybody remember the state of Washington and where this started?
Right.
When it ravaged up there? And then does anybody remember all the crap that Governor Cuomo got for his edict in New York, which had to do with a nursing home or assisted living center? So why are we recycling this?
I don't know, but here's why the anchors at CNN are dumb shits. Because if I was sitting around with my segment producer and she was going, or he was going, we're going to run this story, I'd go, all right, show me the graphics. What do we got? Who do we got? Let me see the prompter. If the first person was 95 years old and the second person was 98 years old, I'd go, hey, I'm not doing this. That's fucking dumb. You're not making a point. What is your point? Actually, the point, what my takeaway is, you should get COVID so you could see your 97th birthday. Like, since there's nobody I know who's made it to 98, and we're going to start with two people in their 90s. The average age of the two people we're doing is 96 and 7 months. No thanks. That's a bad story. It's not making a point. I'm going to seem like an asshole. I didn't go to fucking journalism school for this shit.
But apparently that's, you may have a point there that the way that this gets reported does in fact have some kind of effect on the so-called public servants, because I just don't understand it. I don't get it.
First off, how could it not? I mean, you think about how kind of precarious everyone is now in their position. I mean, we talked about it before. It's like Dr. Fauci wouldn't even come out against protests. He'd come out against gatherings and large gatherings and stadiums and churches and events and everything else, flea markets and swap meets. But he wouldn't say anything about protesting. And the reason he wouldn't say anything about protesting is because no one can escape the Twitter mob. Nobody can escape the news cycle. So if CNN is driving a hard and scary panic porn narrative and you're just some county, whatever, supervisor, health supervisor, mayor, governor, whatever, you're just going to look at that and go, I don't want shit. I'll just go ahead and do what I'll stay in lockstep with these people because CNN is driving everyone to be scared shitless. And if you don't believe me, then what the fuck was this story about? People dying in their 90s. God, it's pathetic. I always feel about, I always think about the personal integrity of the person that reads the prompter. I never get it. Like, why? I just wouldn't do it. I'd say, what's the point? We're not making a point. We're actually torpedoing our own point. This is actually the best news ever. Average age of the person who died in this piece is 88 years of age. Ugh. All right, let me hit Tommy John here. You've had enough to deal with this year. I know I have, and so has Mark. Give the gift of comfort to everyone on your list, and give it to yourself, too, with Tommy John men's and women's loungewear. Say bye to the old stained sweatpants. Tommy John's loungewear is luxurious, soft, and guaranteed to fit. This stuff is so good. The best part about it getting cold outside is the loungewear, man. I put it on every day. They got the hammock pouch underwear back, by the way, now, but it's going to sell out fast. So get on that and get that loungewear and get it for yourself and get it for a loved one too. They got the best pair you'll ever wear, or it's free. Guarantee. It's Tommy John, right, Gary?
That's absolutely right. Order now. Go to TommyJohn.com/RD for $20 off site-wide for a limited time. Get $20 off for a limited time at TommyJohn.com/RD. TommyJohn.com/RD. See site for details.
Mark, did you ever think when you were a kid, I've said this 10,000 times in the last 5 years, when you were a kid, did you ever think adults were going to be this stupid?
No, it's just unbelievable. Look, the one thing that has been reassuring is to listen to somebody, in this case, a judge, actually do a reasoned analysis. It was just refreshing because it was like a voice in the wilderness. So those are the kinds of things that keep us going.
Well, maybe you can call into my show next week when you get some news on this and give us a quick update when we find out more.
I absolutely will.
Let's make that happen. All right, you can go to AdamCarolla.com if you want to find out where I'm doing live shows. January 23rd, Burbank. Going to be doing a drive-in show at the Pickwick Bowling Alley. So you can come out to that. And again, January, February, March. I've got shows all over the place. So, Royal Oak, Michigan, March 26th. We love that place. All right, so go there and go to Chassis, 2 S's and a Y. You can watch all our docs and movies there. Mark, what do you got?
Well, I would encourage everybody, since we talked about nothing but restaurants, get takeout, get delivery, or go to Pasadena. That's all I can tell you. I'll check in with you next week, Adam.
So, until next time, Adam Carolla for Mark Garriga saying mahalo.
Thanks for listening to Reasonable Doubt. Tune in next Saturday for an all-new episode.